never felt right in anything. Like, you know, when people say, oh, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a chef, they had that burning desire to do something like that, and I never had that. And then when I started do modelling, I was like, yep, this is it. This is definitely the one. This is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
I was found in New York, scouted, and people were asking me if I was a plus size model when I was in New York, and I had no idea. I was like, is someone, are you calling me fat? Like, what's going on? So I went and saw an agency and they signed me.
Jordan Simek and Laura Wells have the same job, but their experiences in the modelling industry are worlds apart.
I don't feel skinny enough because of the standards that society puts on women today. I speak to people at the gym and they go, oh, your body's perfect, why would you change? But then people in the industry go, oh, you know, lose a couple of kilos, or, you know, you'd be better for this or you'd be better for that.
Jordan's experience sadly doesn't come as a shock. At a size 8, the 20-year-old has been told by industry professionals her body type's not fit for the runway.
It's hard. I can't do a lot of runway stuff because you know, I'm not thin enough, and, you know, I don't have that kind of slender look to go down the catwalk. You know, I highly doubt it. Seeing me in Milan is going to be a thing of the future.
But at a size 14, international model and environmental scientist Laura Wells has graced many runways. She's one of the most sought-after plus-size models in the country, and, like Jordan, she's had her fair share of industry body shaming. But, unlike Jordan, Laura's told she's not big enough.
I've been told a lot that I'm too small to be a plus size model. If I honestly had $1 for that, I would be super rich. I wouldn't even have to model.
Despite being the average Australian dress size, Laura's body sits in a grey area of the modelling industry.
I've been told to put on weight before from agencies overseas, telling me that, you know, I'm a bit too small to be in the big category of plus size where majority of the work is, and I'm too big to obviously be in the smaller end. One of the funny things that being in the plus size industry does is you can wear padding to make yourself bigger, and yes, I have padding, and yes, I do wear it on some jobs to make myself bigger, which is just a complete anomaly in the modelling world because everyone is technically trying to be smaller.
What they both have in common though is the fact they're both experiencing their body confidence journeys in front of the nation. Last year, Laura featured in activewear brand The Upside's Be You campaign. But ex-Biggest Loser host AJ Rochester slammed her online, saying she's not empowering anyone and questioning how she's considered plus size. This year, Jordan's a contestant on Australia's Next Top Model and hit the headlines after admitting to a teary Megan Gale she isn't confident about her body.
I have been told before that I'm thicker, lower. I'm getting emotional. Like, just don't listen to anyone, okay?
It was hard with, you know, Top Model coming out, and, you know, there was a lot of forums. There were a lot of private forums, and probably one of the worst things I did was read them. And, you know, they're very particular on the industry, and, you know, the first thing they said was I was too fat for the industry. That definitely killed, you know, my confidence.
With successful models constantly told they're not good enough, it comes as no surprise that the average woman doesn't feel too good either. In fact, according to Dove's 2016 Global Beauty and Confidence Report, 9 in 10 women opt out of important life activities when they don't like the way they look. So it's no wonder new research from Jean Hales reveals women are more worried about their weight than they are about cancer.
This is a phobia. This is a fear.
Clinical psychologist Louise thinks social media plays a huge role in creating what she calls a cruel world of judgment.
It's like a perfect storm of body dissatisfaction. We now have this enormous internet world which is very focused on appearance. On top of the usual kind of modelling stuff, we're Instagrammed and Facebooked and Snapchatted into so much focus on what we look like. I
do remember the first time I found a photo online of me that had some negative comments on there, you know, talking about how big I was, you know, that I was unhealthy, that I should be on a diet. And for me, that was really quite strange because I know what I eat, I know how healthy I am, and not everyone's size dictates how healthy they are.
Jordan knows this all too well, getting constant mixed messages about her body on social media.
It is very high pressure. You're either too thin, too fat. Some people see you as anorexic. Some people, you know, I know I have been slammed for not having a good body for the industry, but yet on everyday life and in social media, you know, my body seems to be fine or too skinny.
It's a cruel irony. These are the women we see in magazines and strive to be. They're both beautiful, they're both healthy, and they're both successful, but they're both still not good enough.
The industry itself can be, I think, definitely a huge psychological barrier to some girls. In one place they're being told that they're beautiful and they're perfect and all these people are looking up to them, and then the other end of it they're being told they're too big or too small. To have that coming at you from both ends, it's like, well, what does that person now feel about themselves? Because they're taking in all these comments, negative and positive, from everyone, and it's really hard to formulate your own feeling about yourself unless you're quite strong.
If you hear enough times something's wrong with your body, you start believing something's wrong with my body. And our relationship with our body reflects our relationship with ourselves. So it becomes not just my body's not right, it becomes something's wrong with me as a person, and that's when things get really tricky.
Body and Soul editor Gemma Sutherland knows the media plays a huge role in how women feel about their bodies, and thinks the industry's attitude to health is changing.
I think the media does have a responsibility to portray healthy body image, and I think up till now, thin was in, and certainly we know that catwalk models have to be a certain size. Sample sizes are very far removed from what the average size woman would be. So I do believe that the media has a responsibility to portray, what is healthy so that it's actually realistic.
According to Dove, 7 in 10 women wish the media portrayed a more diverse range of bodies. But just like Jordan and Laura, the media can't seem to win either way. In May, Body and Soul featured size 12 model Bree Warren on the cover and received a number of emails claiming they were promoting obesity.
The problem is, no matter how hard people think they like to see a wide range of bodies represented in the media, if you actually did that and if you presented a size 22 model as well, I don't know how that would be received, and no one's ever actually really done it to find out, because the general perception among media is that wouldn't be well tolerated by your audience. And if you are selling off your cover and people are buying on what they see, they're buying on the stories, would they buy a size 22 woman on the cover? We don't know the answer to that.
Laura says the plus size fashion industry tends to draw a line as well, and models at a size 14 and 16 often serve as realistic aspirational figures for larger women.
When it comes down to it, they've tried on bigger women. When customers and consumers are asking for a size 20, 22 to showcase the clothes on, the brands are doing that and they're not selling. And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, they're a business, they need to sell their clothes. And when they put them on a size 14 to 16 model, who is still within the clothing sizes of that brand, they're selling their clothes. And to me, that says people are looking for that aspirational figure as well.
While she credits the plus size industry for creating a society more accepting of diversity, Louise Adams wishes it was called something else.
I would love to hear it not called the plus size industry, and just kind of open up everything to the idea of the diverse body industry.
Gemma Sutherland agrees.
I hate the term plus size model because I think that is a ridiculous notion in general. I don't know who decided that wafer thin models were, why aren't they called wafer thin? Because the plus size is probably more representative of what the Australian woman looks like.
Laura couldn't disagree more. While she was confronted when she was first asked if she was a plus size model, she's grown to love the label.
Since I've been in the industry and realised what the industry is all about, it's really empowering. It doesn't have a derogatory meaning to the word plus. We've actually put that on it ourselves. So the term for me doesn't mean anything except for a job title. And I think that it can be quite an empowering term for women because it gives them a group to identify with.
While Jordan might have what's deemed a culturally ideal body, working as a model initially hindered her confidence rather than helped it. But she says she now sees health more holistically and tries not to focus purely on measurements.
At the start, I think that modeling's definitely kind of hurt a little bit, because I guess I never expected any of those comments to come from people's mouths. I've done ridiculous things to try and lose weight. And hey, it was horrible, but I've actually found that living out a healthy lifestyle, diet-wise and exercise, I've actually lost more weight. It's tough, but it's a part of it. You either love it or you hate it, and even when I hate it, I still love it.
In her experience, Jordan's found when she expresses dissatisfaction with her body, people can be dismissive, as she appears to have that dream figure. And Louise Adams doesn't really think that's a terrible thing.
When women report body judgment when they are actually in that privileged body, they do get a different response than women who are not in that culturally perfect body. And I don't think there's anything necessarily terrible about that. And I'm not saying that people who enjoy or who have kind of culturally ideal bodies don't suffer from body dissatisfaction. They certainly do. But their experience in the world is one of privilege because of that body that they have. And that's just reality, isn't it?
While Laura may be confident now, it hasn't always been that way.
I was a size 14 since I was 14 years old. I used to cut the labels out of my clothing because I didn't want people to know that I was a size 14. I felt that there was a little bit of a stigma around that size. And once I entered into the plus size modelling world, I really grew to love my body. I really came to love the fact that, yeah, I've got bigger thighs and I've got a bigger bum and bigger boobs, whatever, but for me, that doesn't dictate how beautiful I am or what I give back to society. That really comes from within.
Louise Adams teaches her clients the only way we can be truly satisfied with our bodies is if we learn to formulate our view of ourselves by ourselves, not by how society, or, in Jordan and Laura's case, how the modelling industry sees us.
If we rely on external sources to say our body's okay, we are never going to meet that criteria. It's never going to happen. Body respect and embracing your body just the way it is about changing the conversation inside your head. From one of judgment, which we picked up from the outside, to one of support and love and care.
I see my body as a work in progress. It's always going to be a work in progress. I'm never going to be satisfied. I don't think I'll ever be content. I hope that one day I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror and be like, hey, you know, I'm enough for the industry, I'm enough for whoever, whether it be my partner, whether it be, you know, friends and family. Like, I hope that I can do that one day.
And enough for you?
I hope so, yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to feel like I need to look like a size 6 woman to be beautiful. I don't feel like I need to be conquering the world to be confident. I'm happy with who I am because I'm fulfilling my purpose, and for me, that I think that's the most important thing is giving back.